You saw me reach for a target, simple little fib projections and time. That's all that was. And I was 1/4 of a point, one tick off the high. And that pisses me off because I thought for sure I was going to nail the actual high. And I was off by one tick. And then it collapsed and went back down into take out the low, which I said was the balanced price range. Which you're probably wondering, okay, how did I know it was a balanced price range that later on became a range that could have been taken out? Everything I just outlined. If it looks like a sell and it's setting up a sell and it's rejecting it, then it's going to do one of two things: go consolidation, which I didn't see that happening. Because why? Pal, the effect of him talking. Traders are going to be reading into that bullshit. I don't even know what the hell this guy says. I don't ever care what he's saying. I don't care. I don't ever read those fundamental data. I don't read any of the reports. I could give two shits about what they'd say. I don't care about that stuff because price is going to tell me everything. Because price is manipulating the minds and influencing all the decisions in every trader around the world that doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. And that's how I was able to look at something. I was ready to do something. And I was like, nope, that's not happening. Reverse is going up. And then, boom, there it was. Went back into the new week gap opening. I said, I want to take 10 off there. You saw me do that. And at the high of the gap, I took something off there. And as it ran up, it had a nice expansion on the upside through that gap opening on Sunday's opening. I took another portion off, and then you watched me run right into the target. Only off by one tick. Folks, that's not luck. That's not luck. That's logic. It's not rooted on any horse shit out there. Nothing. John Murphy don't have it in his books. Everybody else out there talking horse shit. Nothing. Nothing. It's a simple understanding of time and price and understanding market sentiment. You'll learn about that this year. I'm going to be talking about it every single day. I'm going to be talking about where retail will see the marketplace and where those instances are where retail is arm wrestling smart money. We are looking for those points right then and there. That's when our high probability setups are occurring. That's your multiplier. That's your pattern. That's the thing that you're going to do every single time you go in there and look for a trade. That's what you hunt. If it's not there, guess what you're doing? Nothing. And you're not going to regret it. You're not going to feel anxious. You're not going to fear missing out on something because who gives a shit somebody's trading a breaker over there? Who gives a shit they're over there trading an institutional order flow entry drill over there? Who cares if they're trading in a market maker buy model when you're selling short, you're looking to sell short? Who gives a shit? That's not your trade. That's not your trade. That's equivalent to seeing somebody else's significant other and saying, wow, I'd like to get a hold of that. But you're married to somebody else. You can't do that. I mean, I guess you could do it and get yourself in trouble. But the point is in trading, you don't want to do that. You cannot do that. You got to stick to what you are married to, and that's your model. That's your market. That's your multiplier, the thing that you're going to do over and over and over again. And that is going to be multiplied with the heavy lifting of money management. Because if you're aiming for 3% or 10% or 6%, that's a static return that you're aiming for every single month. Your risk need not be high to meet these thresholds in terms of returns. Not even 1%. How about 0.75%? What if you risked 0.75, which is less than 1% risk? And nobody writes books about this shit. Nobody makes videos on YouTube about this stuff. Nobody makes courses. They don't teach their shit with this logic, okay? But if you're going to have the advantage of having funded account balances, which you really don't have, but they're going to offer you that, and you're able to take money out like you see my students all around the world doing now, I promise you they're still trading way beyond where they should because they want these big windfall victories. You don't want that. Not when you first start out. You don't. As much as you want to believe you want it, you don't want that. You want this shit to be steady Eddie, easy money, something that's easy to do over and over and over again. You're not trying to flip your fucking account. You're trying to take money out of it. Every single opportunity that you can take the money out and they allow you to do a payout, you do it. But what I want to let it grow. Fuck that. How do you know this company's going to be existing 6 months from now? And what if you work that account up and you build it up and you build it up and you build it up, and all of a sudden regulation steps in and says, yeah, we're going to change the way this is being done. You don't think it can happen? Nothing would surprise me anymore. Nothing would. So as you make the money, you get the fucking money. You secure the bag, you pay your fucking bills, you get your ends meet, and there you go. You save some money up and get your own account. You have to have multiple streams of income. One stream of income isn't going to be it. I'm a millionaire and I still have multiple streams of income. I'm not going to bed at night sleeping about who's going to watch my fucking videos. Okay. I'm not worried about, am I going to be able to get a trade tomorrow? I'm not worried about ever doing a mentorship ever again. Think, folks, if you're worrying about money, you have a full-time job in fear, and it doesn't pay well. It gives you ulcers, it gives you stress, it's toxic, it makes you miserable to be around. And I'm telling you how to change all that. Because if you don't change that mindset and start seeing how this is obtainable, your model need not be complicated. Even though you might look at what I'm teaching and see how intricate it can be and sophisticated in many ways, it need not be that way for you. Look what I've been able to do with last year's model. And you can simplify everything that I teach just like that. And like I said, I'm going to literally teach you late entries after a move already started. I'm going to show you how to enter doing that. And it will still beat your fucking job easily. And you need not be afraid. I'm going to show you how it's not chasing price. I'm going to show you the contrast of what chasing price is and when it's not chasing price, but still offers you a low risk, high probability entry. Folks, listen, there is no excuse this year. You have no excuse. Zero. The only excuse you have is you didn't show up every day. And then there it is. I guess that's it. But if you show up every day, you have no excuse. I'm going to lay it in your hands. You're going to handle it. You're going to see it. You're going to feel it. You're going to experience every aspect of seeing when the market's going to do this and when it's going to do that and when it's likely to fail. And you're going to see me get it wrong and how I'm going to engage it. You begged and pleaded and begged and pleaded, and now I'm going to give it to you. So there's going to be a lot of folks out there just going to watch and see if I get it wrong. That's fine. I want you to go into this with the intent that you're learning how to do this. And you're also going to see how often I get wrong. How often do I get it right? How often and how precise is what I'm going to show you and where the market goes. That can't be faked. And there will be no other recourse for anybody else to say, well, it's luck or it's cherry picked. How can I transfer cherry picking logic? People out there are doing it. They're making money. So how can anyone argue against this when you are going to get a free ride for the whole year with good old ICT? The benefits of knowing what your multiplier is and your model is that you will know exactly what you as the trader are going to do. You're not trying to keep up with somebody else on social media. You're not trying to keep up with me. You're not trying to win some kind of bullshit contest. You're in here trying to make money. That's it. That's all this boils down to. Making money and enjoying it and having fun. Making money doesn't need to be fucking boring and stuffy, but it needs to be easy. Because if it's not easy, you're not going to stick with it. Because if it's easy, you'll be able to do what? You'll be able to weather doing it wrong once in a while. Oh, okay, shit. I did that wrong. Okay, it's no big deal. Why should you be carefree and lighthearted about taking a loss? Because your model, your multiplier, will still fucking work.